Malta, we had recently celebrated the feast of Santa Maria, or in English, the Assumption of Our Lady. This is actually one of the biggest feasts, if not the biggest, that is in Malta. However, it has nothing to do with the religious aspect, but rather something historical. While this is not a legend per se, one can say what happened can be considered legendary. Let's take a deep dive into Operation Pedestal. By August of 1942, Malta was in a dire situation. It has been surrounded by Axis powers, both from the north by Italy and occupied Greece, as well as in the south by the colonies of the now French occupied France and Libya. Malta was the only Allied power in the middle of the Mediterranean. Its closest allies were Gibraltar in the west of the Mediterranean and Egypt and Cyprus in the east. Being the only stop for the British, as well as its submarine port, Malta was quite important and strategically for the British to keep, which is why the Germans and the Italians tried to take it, and they did so by trying to cut off Malta's food supply. And this really really came into a dire situation by August 1942. And if by the end of the month Malta didn't receive any food or ammunition, it would have to surrender. The British sent a group of 14 merchant ships on its way to Malta. One of them, the Ohio, was the only American ship in the fleet. However, it still had a British crew. By the 10th of August, the fleet had reached the Mediterranean. This is when the fleet started to be attacked. And slowly, one by one, most of the ships started to sink and they were lost. The Maltese realized how dire the situation has become. Like I said, if the food did not arrive, Malta would have had to surrender. And on the 15th of August, when one of the ships was nearing Malta, the Maltese turned to prayer to Santa Maria, for that is the day of the feast. And then in the Grand Harbor, the Maltese celebrated as the SS Ohio entered the Grand Harbor, and Malta received its supplies. This miraculous day is why it's important for the Maltese because of that, Malta did not surrender the war and it kept fighting against the Italians and the Germans. And it is even suggested that if we had surrendered, the British would have lost any possible stops between it and Egypt, so it might possibly have lost most of its colonies in Africa. So there, we like to celebrate this historic victory and its grand feast, as some of you have seen in my Instagram and Facebook posts. I posted some of the fireworks display. Anyway, I hope you like this video. Follow this channel or subscribe wherever you are watching, and hope to see you again next week for another interesting legend. Thank you.